Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you are in. Welcome to Courage Over Comfort, Evolving with Trish. I want to thank you all for joining me for this podcast. I'm excited about guiding, directing, and leading you in whatever path that you choose. But today's segment is really passionate to my heart because I was listening to one of my favorite artists, Fantasia. And one of the songs that was playing was Sometimes You Have to Lose to Win Again. And that is so true. When we think about how many times we've lost, whether it be a relationship, it may be a job, it may be just time. And sometimes we have to lose in order for us to win. It's inevitable. We're going to have some ups and downs. Life is going to be challenging. It's going to give you things that you didn't expect to happen or expect to happen. But the truth of the matter is that even when we don't expect certain things, they happen. And oftentimes we have to lose a little bit. So when you think about where you are right now and what have you lost, but in that loss, what have you gained? And I think that is so important to really think about and sit in. You know, oftentimes I reminisce on the things that I've done, where I am today and where I was a few years ago. And I told you when I started this podcast that I was going to be transparent, that I was going to unfold, I was going to be open, and I was going to share. Because sometimes in our share, we help somebody. And so I think it's very imperative that we think about how we can use our voice to make a difference. And so losing in order to gain, it's not always pretty. It doesn't come with great instructions on how to get out of it. It's a process. I was sharing that with a friend yesterday that in order to lose, you have to go through the process. So there's a process of lose. It just doesn't always happen overnight. There's a process. So how do we get through when we're going through the process? We first have to recognize that it is a time, it is a period, it is a moment in our life that has to happen. And we have to choose how we deal with it. I think that's the key. Choosing how you deal with those times when things are hard. Those times when things feel like a struggle. Those times feel like how do I get out of this? What am I going to do next? Or even why am I here? So sometimes you have to lose in order to win. When I was going through my transition in terms of leaving from my state job to starting my own business, I had to make a decision as to how do I navigate through the many problems that was arising, the financial situation, losing a vehicle during that time. Oftentimes people don't talk about that, but I had to choose my next, and that next was things got to get better. Things are going to get better because I chose to make it better. And I had to look at my situation and say, it's going to be okay. Sometimes we have to sit in it. But while we sit in it, we have to make decisions as to how do we move forward? How do we gain more momentum? How do we change that? Like I said, even with relationships, we go through relationships and sometimes we ask ourselves, why do we lose that person? It's because they were only supposed to be there for a time. They were only supposed to leave you with something, and that is the key. What did that person leave me with? How can I use that experience to help propel me, to help me with my next? Because you never want to take your last experience into your next experience unless it's going to help you grow. And always look at those down times, those valley moments as time to grow. The most important thing that we can do is to have self-development. Self-development is key to how we navigate through our next. If you don't spend time with you, I was sharing this with a young lady today, and I asked her, what are your 3 strengths? And she couldn't really answer. She paused for a long time because she didn't know. To me, that's a problem. When you can't identify your strengths. But I can tell you what, people will often say what their weaknesses are. They can quickly find a negative, but have a hard time finding a positive. So I want to ask you this question tonight. Can you list, maybe not 3, give me 2 strengths about yourself? Because that is what helps you get through the valley moments, those times where you feel like I'm at my last. How do I get out of this? Why did I get in this position? And sometimes during those times where I was struggling, I asked myself, why? How did I get here? You got there somehow. It is the things that you choose in life is what gives you those moments where you have to ask yourself why. But it's in that time that you can ask yourself, okay, what do I do next? How do I get through this next period, this next moment, this next minute? Because sometimes we have to do things in increments. So we try to rush and solve the problem. And again, don't want to go through the process. So when I was at my lowest, and no one knew because I wore it well. I didn't allow myself, though, to stay there. I said, this is a time where I have to take a self-evaluation and see what did I do so that I don't repeat. That's the key. So sometimes we have to lose to win, but that win is the knowledge. It's the understanding. It's the awareness. Those are all the gifts that we get when we lose, because we are supposed to learn something from those losses. And oftentimes those losses is to benefit us. We don't know it when we're in it. Of course, we don't know it because we're too busy dwelling in it to understand that this is supposed to happen right now in order for me to fix me. There's a couple things I wanted to share with you guys because it brings me to what I do best right now, and that's teaching. It's those building blocks that we have to be able to identify. So what are the building blocks in your life that need to be constructed? We are all living in times where reconstruction has to take place in your life. So you're not all together. You may think you have it all together, but there are pieces of you, intricate pieces of you that need to be rebuilt, restructured. But first we have to identify what are those building blocks that are blocking us from allowing ourselves to really come in and have a demolition, come in and just knock everything down and redo and restruct those areas of our life that we're lacking, that we need to be rebuilt on. So here's a thought. If you want to be blessed, you got to be able to build and work on that marriage. Because oftentimes we want to be married and we don't want to work on it. We don't want to build with that person. We want to go in our own direction. That's not how we build. We have to come together to build together. So if you want to be blessed in your marriage, you got to learn how to build. You got to learn how to tear down some things that are not helping the marriage. You got to learn how to be okay with some things that may not go according to what you would have them to go. That's reconstructing your mind to be able to work on something that you want to work on together. It's about building together. That business, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And I had to realize that when I started working for myself, when I started my own business, I had to realize that this is going to take time. And guess what? It may take longer than what I thought it was going to take. But it's sticking and staying with something long enough to see the build. Buildings just don't happen overnight. It takes time if it's done right. So when you're thinking about what do you need to build in order to get past that loss, how do you need to reconstruct your mind, your thought process, what you used to do, and how you change what you're going to do today? It is a process. That relationship, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's something that you have to work on. You are fixing things, and sometimes things happen to fix you. We are created to fix things, but sometimes we got to let those things fix us. That's why you have to lose, because you have to lose some things in order to rebuild and to fix some of those things that are internal that needs to be worked on. You have to work on you every day. And ask yourself, what are some of the strengths that I have? What are the weaknesses? And how do I work on those weaknesses? That's how you build. See, we can't get past that. And I try to get through some things without going through some things, if that makes sense. We try to break down some barriers and some walls in our lives that takes a little bit longer to break down than what we anticipated. But it's the process. Because once you go through the process, now you can see the beauty of it all. I had to go through that. There was a reason why. If I didn't go through it, I wouldn't be the person I am today. One of the famous quotes that I think about, the late Jim Rohn, he said, "Don't wish it was easy, but wish you were better." So when you go through those things, they're not going to be easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be doing it. People stray from hard work. So I want to encourage you to not try to take the easy road, but take the road that's less traveled, and take the road that's hard, because it's purpose for you to be strengthened. You know how you work out in that area of your body, like, ooh, that hurt. I didn't know that was going to ache like that. It's because you haven't worked that muscle in a long time. And in order for you to work it, you have to do the work. You have to put in the work. And it's to strengthen you. So then when you go back later, it becomes easier. Nobody wants to go to the gym, right? Nobody wants to get on that diet, right? Because the easy thing is to say, you know what? I'm going to eat whatever I want to eat and be happy. See, that's what we say. But the truth of the matter is we're choosing the easy way out, because we don't want to. The ideal is to be healthy. And healthy means making better choices for ourselves. And it's not easy, because we become comfortable. And that's why this is courage over comfort. We become so comfortable with the way we used to do things that we don't want to do things differently, because it takes hard work. It takes discipline. It takes change. It takes dedication. What are you going to choose to do today differently than you did yesterday? When are you going to come out of your comfort zone? When are you going to start building those building blocks for yourself? The life that you want for yourself. It's not easy. And sometimes you're going to lose some things. You're going to lose some friends. My circle is very small. And it's small on purpose. Because I can't take everybody with me. Because they don't want to do what I want them to do. They don't want to walk the walk, but they want to talk. So you got to choose differently and be okay with it. Be okay in your own comfort zone. Tear down those walls and start reconstruction. And say, I'm under construction. I'm walking, but I'm under construction. I'm living, but I'm under construction. I'm doing, but I'm under construction. Because everybody needs something to change about themselves. Nobody's perfect. But I say all the time, I'm better than I was yesterday. I'm better than I was yesterday. Because every time I make those small changes, it makes a difference. Now, granted, there's sometimes we got to take leaps. We got to take leaps because God has given us time to do certain things in our life, and we choose not to do it. So we lose time. We can't get it back. But when we take those leaps, we earn something. We earn something better than what we had. So I encourage you not to look at yourself as not capable, but open up your mind to the possibility and open up your capacity to do, and you will. Oftentimes we sit back and watch others do, and we ask the question, well, how did they get that? I can't tell you how many times I've been asked, why or what did you do or who did you talk to get into the trades? It actually kind of fell into my lap because I saw a need. So when you're thinking about what is your next, look at what's needed around you. And then look at your skill set and ask yourself, can I do this? Am I capable? And then put in the hard work, because it's going to take that. Because everybody wants to do what's easy. It's full over there. But what's hard, what takes tenacity, what takes will and dedication, it's hard. I mean, nobody wants to lose. We're living in a day where every child at a sports event, they're given a consolation prize just for showing up. Nobody loses, really. And what we're teaching our young people is that you can win even when you didn't win. To me, that we're doing them a disservice, because when they lose, it's hard for them. They can't handle it. There's no consolation prizes. You lost. But it's okay. You get back up and you try the next day. Or you say, you know what? We're going to do something different because next time we're going to win. But to justify a loss with here's a consolation prize, I don't agree with that. You may disagree with me, and that's okay. But I believe that in order to build a child up, we have to make sure that they understand that it's okay to lose. We can't win at everything. But losing doesn't mean that you have failed, or it doesn't mean failure. You just lost. So I encourage you, when we're thinking about what is our next, and even when we felt like we've lost, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's an opportunity, it's just a loss. It's not the end for you. But the thing is to think about what's next. How do I build? What are my building blocks? What are the things I have in my tool box that's going to help me get to that next level, that level of excellence? Because expect that there's going to be some things that's going to happen in our lives that we're not going to be happy with. But the key is to navigate through it. If you're able to take a punch, take a punch. Get back up and say, okay, it may hurt a little bit, because with disappointment, it hurts. With loss, it hurts. But does it last? No, it doesn't. So what you put your mind to, see, that's the thing. Whatever you think about the most, that's all you're going to think about. But when you decide, I'm going to let this go because I know there's something out there better. That door is not closed. That was not the door you're supposed to enter. That was not for you. Because I truly believe what's for you is for you. But it's the choices that you make. It's what you do after you get knocked down. It's how you navigate through those punches, How you navigate through those walls, that those people that are trying to block you, those things, and sometimes those things are you. Because we look at a loss as the end of the world. I love, love, love. I encourage you guys to listen to that song, Fantasia. Sometimes you have to lose to win again. That means that really wasn't lost. Because she's saying you can win again. You can be on top. But you have to make the choices to not be comfortable and not sit back and accept things the way they are. Because there's change happens every day. Every day. Technology is changing. We got to stay updated. You know, they change phones every year. You got to stay up to date on things. And you got to really take an evaluation of yourself. And make sure that you have the skill sets that are transferable. Because jobs are being lost. People are deciding that they don't want to work. And I don't get that, but I'm not understanding that. How you not want to work? Just do nothing. I don't understand why people want to become couch potatoes. Don't have no motivation. None, no ambitious, not even trying, but bring children in the world and expect them to be something or somebody. And yet you're not. We got to do better. We got to do better. We should be evolving. That means we should be changing every day, doing something different. Living that life and not just existing, but doing something with your skills. Find out what you're good at. What are your 3 things, your 3 strengths? And then find out what you can do with those strengths to enhance the quality of your life. And that is what it is. The quality of your life. What are you doing? What is next for you? I don't know about you, but I want to win. I want to win. And I'm hoping that you want to too. So there's something that you have in your toolbox that's going to change your life if you just make a decision and not settle, not become stagnated, not become a couch potato and just watch and be on the sideline. Cheer yourself on. You are your biggest cheerleader. But if you decide not to do anything, that's your decision. If you decide to take that loss and sit back and say, I'm not doing anything, it's your decision. But this is a time to evolve. This is a time for you to take control and navigate. Be in the driver's seat of your own life. Don't be a spectator. Be a participator. Indulge. Learn something new today. Read something new today. Educate yourself so that you can be better than you were yesterday. So this is your girl, Trisha Robinson. Thank you for joining. I would love to hear more about what you're going to do to change your life. How are you going to navigate your next season? Because we're entering into another season. What are you going to do differently? What's your 2024 going to look like? Drop me a line, leave me a note. You know I would love to hear from you. Evolve Training and Development. Evolve Youth Trades Academy. Our website is www.evolvetrades.org. Let's evolve together. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.